Hey ladies and gentlemen, this is Javier with the Real Javier Novoa, where we apply the principles of spirituality, mysticism, and philosophy to rapid lifestyle transformation. And we are moving on in earnest here with the series on rapid lifestyle transformation. And this video might seem like a departure, but I can assure you it's not. I was ruminating about this, and I've actually had inspiration to do this for a while, but I haven't known where to begin in this. So this video is sort of a departure in that series. It is part of the series, but in that it's not pre-prepared. I haven't scripted it. I haven't taken notes for it like I did for our last video. And like we are going to do for the videos that come up on rapid lifestyle transformation, because a lot of it is based in research and a lot of it is based in intellectual planning and so on, and financial aspects and things that of course I have to organize my thoughts on, I have to write down, and I am devising a curriculum both so that we can go into these free YouTube shows about it, these free YouTube videos, as well as creating a structured course that will be for a small, probably nominal fee, but that will dive into these things in hours-long videos, and that will really take you by the hand and get you down this path of creating the lifestyle you want and getting off of the prison grid, ladies and gentlemen, which I have also had great inspiration to talk about, being that it is part and parcel of our times and the film role that we're on. But I've been inspired to do this for a long time, what I'm going to sort of touch on and talk about in this video, because I would say a lot of, but no law of attraction or law of assumption teacher that I know of, no coach, tries to go and teach this philosophy to the lowest of the society. In fact, it's almost assumed if you watch these videos on law of assumption and law of attraction, it is almost always geared towards a very privileged middle class, upper middle class, or wealthier audience. And of course, the middle class in the United States, still compared to most of the world, is a very affluent class. And it just assumes that you have affluence. It assumes that a person, his only problem is figuring out who his SP will be and where to go out and drink during the weekend. And that's all fine. There's a good reason for that, because the majority of people who are actively seeking this philosophy out are already relatively successful, most of them. And that's why they're seeking this out, because they've hit a wall. Because you can only work so many 12-hour days, and you can only get so many $300,000 degrees, and you can only lick so many boots, so to speak, physically. If you want to take it even to the next level, getting on the level of, say, an Elon Musk, or getting on the level of a multi-millionaire or a multi-billionaire, well, as Abraham Hicks says, you can't utilize the workaday, everyday principles to run a multi-million-dollar business. There are too many moving parts. You cannot be highly successful, like on the level of a billionaire or a multi-millionaire, and be a micromanager, simply because of the fact that there's no way to physically manage all of those parts. But the point is that the majority of the audience of these videos are people who have already had success, and people who have the privilege to come and seek out these videos on the internet, and so on and so forth. When I say privilege, I mean on the game, because of course we all create our own reality, but it does help to be born in a certain milieu. It makes it easier to get onto certain vibrations. For example, someone born in a very poor family will find it harder and less natural to adjust to a vibration of prosperity than someone born in a prosperous family, all things given equal. And of course there are many examples to the contrary. And it is very easy to build a prosperity mindset no matter what level you're on. But another reason why I haven't seen many law of assumption, law of attraction coaches get out of this milieu of the middle class is because of the fact that you really can't make money targeting your materials to the poor or to the very downtrodden. And that's true. The video, I want to start dedicating a portion of our videos to people who are very poor, perhaps homeless, and to people who are in prison, and to people who are very sick, and to people who are on the lowest level of this emotional scale, and who are in desperation. I just feel an inspiration to do that, and I can already hear the law of assumption community people saying, wait a minute, you're going to go down to their vibration and so on, and it's going to... No, this is not the case. We'll explain why this isn't the case. But we're probably not going to make any money doing this, and we're probably not even going to get a lot of viewers. But I feel inspired from a very high place on the emotional scale to make this video and to start going into this modality just a little bit. Just spending a portion of my time on this. And so therefore we're going to do it. I've always wanted to do this. And if you look in the spiritual teachings, if you look in the biblical teachings, Jesus said, I came to preach freedom to the captives. I came for the downtrodden. I came for the sinners. And as we know in this modality, sin means missing the mark. So if your goal is to make $100,000 a year and you're making $50,000 a year, that is sin. Sin is not an ethical fault. Sin is falling short of the rockets of desire you have shot off. And of course, eventually we're all going to get there to those rockets of desire. But I am feeling inspired to offer special help, special teachings, and special videos specifically targeted to those who are either homeless, who have no money, who are really struggling in their lives, struggling to pay the bills, struggling to care for their families, and for people who are in prison, whom have been written off by the society. And I don't care what you've been accused of. I don't care what you've done. You have the divinity, the spark of divinity inside you just as much as everyone else, and there's no guilt. Therefore, no one is superior to you, and you are inferior to no one. There's whole class systems and case systems and judging people by their class and by their appearance and so on and so forth, by the amount of money they have. This is all part of the slave grid. These are societal constructs, and we have to break out of that. So I've just felt inspired to do this. And I was listening to a lecture a few months ago. I found it randomly on YouTube. It's by the great Graham Cook. And Graham Cook, he is a Christian teacher, but who is involved in the intuitive and is involved in the prophetic. And he is involved with basically tapping into that divinity and then expressing that to the world. So I wouldn't see him as a quote-unquote Christian or as a religious person. Rather, I'd see him on the same vein as our teachers. They just use a different nomenclature. But he has very great material, and I'd recommend you all listen to some of Graham Cook's material. Of course, I don't agree with everything, but he said that one night he woke up at about 3 in the morning, and basically the Lord's told him through inspiration, I want you to go to the liquor store and buy some strong liquor. I remember this was very late. I don't remember it was exactly 3 in the morning. He said, this is very strange, but he actually went to do it. And then he heard the inspiration say, I want you to go to such and such a street. And he found a person who was basically freezing cold on the street. And all he did was, the Lord's told him basically, give him a drink of that liquor and tell him, hey buddy, you're gonna make it, stay warm, and survive. And he did that. And then he went back home. And basically the thing later is he ran into that person again on the street. He looked very good. He had on a suit. He was had a haircut. He was super successful looking. Looked like an executive. He was an executive. And he said, you remember me? And Graham was like, well, no, I don't. He said, I was that person on the street who basically had an unkempt beard, was dirty, and I was freezing cold, and you gave me that drink, and it saved my life. It kept me warm. And then I had the inspiration to go and basically ask someone for $5 so that I could get a haircut. And then I went to get a haircut and a shower. One thing led to the other, and I got this job as a vice president in this company after a very short time. The story was that he was a vice president of a company, and he was very successful. But then he got involved with drink and drugs, and his family left him, and so on and so forth. And he was reduced to living on the street. These stories happen all the time, and the reason they happen is because people don't know these laws. Of course, the law of attraction is completely fair. It gives you what you ask for. But what if you have no idea about this law? Of course, on the deeper spiritual level, we know that we chose to come here, and that we all had an idea about it, knew about it when we came. But I think it's a part of the cycle of living that there are some people who are sent to uplift others. Not as an obligation. I don't want to do this because I think I have to do it as my debt that I have to repay to others, and so karmic debt or some other such nonsense. No, it's because I have the inspiration to do it, and I want to do it, and it's done out of love. And I find it to be a very interesting challenge. So basically what I'm saying, what I'm announcing, this is unscripted, so I've probably gone around the circles here, but I want to dedicate some videos, at least every month, to helping the homeless and helping the imprisoned and helping people who are very sick. And there are many ways that I can help them. Not necessarily monetarily, because as Simon Peter said, of gold and silver we have not, but what I have, I give thee. And the first most powerful thing I can give you, whether you ask me or not, whether you want it or not, I will imagine well for you. If I see someone who's destitute, if I see someone who's really suffering, if someone comes and asks me, and of course I charge no money for this. We do charge for the coaching calls, where I will take you step by step on how to rapidly transform your life. But this is for people who are already pretty advanced down the path. But if you ask me, whether through private email or through the comments, tell me that you want something, I don't care who you are, and ask me to imagine it for you, I will do that. And of course, I've been doing this for years, and my imagining for people and intending for people has gotten powerful results and will get you what you want. You need do nothing but ask me to do it, and I will do it. This is my form of prayer. I will. So if someone is homeless or someone is in prison and they find a way to get a message to me, I will imagine your freedom, and I will imagine your gainful employment, and I will do this free of charge, and with gladness I will do it. And I guarantee you it will happen. Now the second thing I can give you is to teach you how to do this by yourself, to teach you that you don't need me to do this. And I will teach you that by reminding you of who you are, by reminding you of your divinity, and by helping you to work through all of these feelings of fear and guilt and poverty that have probably taken hold, and for good reason, due to your circumstances. It's not your fault. Because of course, as the law of attraction and the law of assumption talks about, everything is our creation. But that doesn't mean it's your fault or your guilt, because I know that you didn't mean to ask for this. I know that you didn't attract this into your life on purpose. You didn't know. And if you don't know the law, it's as if it doesn't exist for you. So I'm here to alleviate that from you. I'm also here to alleviate any guilt or suffering that you've been going through due to trauma in your life, because a lot of homelessness is due to trauma. And a lot of people who are imprisoned and who committed crimes and so on, what the society considers crimes, this is due to trauma also. I can help you to get free from that trauma, and we're going to do that absolutely free by the videos that I'll release specifically for people who are consider themselves to be in bad situations. Also, we're going to go into the Cynics, because the Cynics were a group of philosophers in the ancient Greek tradition who actually became homeless intentionally and figured out what they could do without. And you're going to need this in the first steps of your journey, because you're going, as ironic as it may seem, you're going to have to learn to accept your situation, and you're going to have to surrender to your situation before you can get out. And then when you're able to do that, you release enough energy and you will get on another film roll quicker than you thought possible. I want to teach the principles of this philosophy and the principles of the law of assumption and law of attraction to the most downtrodden of society. Because I'm not here for the middle class anyway. I find the middle class to be the most boring group of people. I respect the super wealthy and the wealthy because most of them have an entrepreneurial mindset, and even the ones that were born into it, they know how to preserve wealth. The people on the very bottom I respect, because to be homeless, I know this is going to sound strange to a lot of people. Even Abraham Hicks said this. A lot of people are homeless because they refuse to bend down to the slave grid. They just don't know that you don't fight it, because fighting it just gives it more energy, and then it will tread over you. This applies to both homelessness and people in prison. They tried to fight it, and the grid was too strong. Well, I want to teach you that your feelings against the grid are absolutely well-founded. It is something to be avoided, but you do not fight it. But there's great respect for you in that you did not go along with just the rest of the society, but you refused it to such an extent that you gave up everything. This is actually an accomplishment. It means that you have what it takes to go all into this philosophy and to create a masterpiece with your lives. I don't care how low you think you have sunk. That's my message to you. But the middle class, most of them just had a college education, then got a job out of college and just basically got paid started out with $50,000 a year, then got paid their $100,000 a year and get a little raise every year and go on vacations and have their nice 2-story house. To me, that's boring. Now, nothing against the middle class. Of course, you can utilize these tools as well, and you can get out of this grid. But I have news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty soon, due to this economic downturn, you're not going to be able to just cut it mediocre middle class anymore. You're either going to go down to the lower classes, or you're going to have to jump that film roll and go into a whole new mindset, which is getting off the grid and becoming independent and becoming financially and business savvy. We're going to teach you those tools in this course, but I just wanted to start this series giving advice to the homeless and to the poor, specifically for them, and to tell you that I'm here for you, and I will imagine good for you. And any questions you have, if you can get to a computer, ask me. If you can email me or have someone else do it, I'm always open to your questions, and I'm here for you. And I don't care if you're sentenced to life in prison. There's a way out for you. You are not guilty. You are not worse than anyone else in the society. Indeed, you have divinity within you, and you are all good. So with much love and appreciation, this is Javier. Please subscribe and like to our channel, and email me for coaching calls, and I will take you hand by hand. I will take you by the hand and take you down this path to rapid lifestyle transformation. Until very soon, this is Javier with much love.